From The Butterfly Lion by Michael Morpurgo. Bertie jumped out of his bed and ran to the window. A herd of zebras was scattering away from the waterhole, chased by a couple of hyenas. Then he saw more hyenas, 3 of them, standing stock still, noses pointing, eyes fixed on the waterhole. It was only now that Bertie saw the lion cub, but this one wasn't white at all. He was covered in mud, with his back to the waterhole, and he was waving a pathetic paw at the hyenas who were beginning to circle. The lion cub had nowhere to run to, and the hyenas were sidling ever closer.
Hello boys and girls, today I am going to be reading Little Rabbit Foo-Foo, which is written by Michael Rosen. Little Rabbit Foo-Foo riding through the forest, scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Down came the good fairy, and she said, "Little Rabbit Foo-Foo, I don't like your attitude, scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. I'm going to give you 3 chances to change, and if you don't, I'm going to turn you into a goonie." Little Rabbit Foo-Foo riding through the forest, scooping up the wriggly worms and bopping them on the head. Down came the good fairy, and she said, "Little Rabbit Foo-Foo, I don't like your attitude, scooping up the wriggly worms and bopping them on the head. You've now got 2 chances to change, and if you don't, I'm going to turn you into a goonie."
From Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. One day, the 3 bears went for a walk. As they were leaving their cottage, Goldilocks was looking through the window. "What's in here?" she said. There was porridge on the table. "This porridge is too hot," said Goldilocks. Then she tried another. "This porridge is too cold." Then she tried another. "This porridge is just right. Yum, yum." Then she tried out the chairs. "This chair is too hard," said Goldilocks. "This chair is too soft." "This chair is just right. Oops." She fell off the chair and the chair broke. Then she decided to go upstairs and have a look at the
Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. All children, except one, grow up. This is the story of that one, Peter Pan. Mr. and Mrs. Darling lived at number 14 with their 3 children, Wendy, John and Michael. Their nurse was a Newfoundland dog called Nana. There never was a simpler, happier family until the coming of Peter Pan. He came from a make-believe island called the Neverland. It was an island in the children's minds where they used to play happily. Wendy told her mother that Peter Pan sat at the foot of the bed and played music on his pipes to her. Mrs. Darling said she must have been dreaming. Then, one evening, she saw him with her own eyes. It was Nana's evening out, and Mrs. Darling sat by the nursery fire with her sewing. Soon she fell asleep. The window blew open and a boy dropped on the floor. With him a strange light which started about the room. Mrs. Darling knew at once that the boy must be Peter Pan. She screamed, and at that moment Nana rushed in. She growled and sprang at the boy, who leapt lightly through the window. Poor Mrs. Darling thought he must be killed, for the window was 3 floors up. She ran down into the street to look for his body, but it was not there. She only saw what she thought was a shooting star in the black night sky.
Gangster Granny by David Williams. But Granny is so boring, said Ben. It was a cold Friday evening in November, and as usual he was slumped in the back of his mum and dad's car. Once again he was on his way to stay the night at his dreaded Granny's house. All old people are. Don't talk about your Granny like that, said Dad weakly. His fat stomach pushed up against the steering wheel of the family's little brown car. I hate spending time with her, protested Ben. Her TV doesn't work. All she wants to do is play Scrabble, and she stinks of cabbage. In fairness to the boy, she does stink of cabbage, agreed Mum, as she applied some last-minute lip liner. You're not helping, muttered Dad. At worst, my mother has a very slight odour of boiled vegetables. Can't I come with you, pleaded Ben. I love ball, what's it, dancing. It's called ballroom dancing, corrected Dad. And you don't love it? You said, and I quote, I would rather eat my own bogies than watch that rubbish.